Hi ladies and gentlemen, Non-Road User here again. It's a little bit late tonight. It's almost 10 to 10. Excuse me. Reason I'm making this video now is because I've just been watching BBC London news on catch up because as you'll probably be aware through my other videos, I don't possess a television license because I find most of the stuff on TV to be absolute junk these days, but that's another story. And one of the stories on BBC London News tonight was there's a place in Shoreditch in London that is doing, there's this big thing about coding for kids in schools at the moment, okay. Now, I really do not want to come across in this video as sounding as though I'm being arrogant or whatever, right? But all I will say to any teenagers, school kids out there, right, if you're interested in computing, then believe me, go for it. Get involved with this coding thing. I'll tell you the reason why. Because back in the day, my eldest son is now approaching his mid-30s, okay. Back in the day, when he was 6 years old, him and I sat down at this very table, well, not the same table, but in the same house, right? And we had a computer at the time which was called a ZX Spectrum 48K, right? Kids these days, you've probably got no idea what I'm talking about. Google it, right? ZX Spectrum 48K. And my 6-year-old son, who is now approaching his mid-30s, used to sit down in this kitchen and write basic programming language on this ZX Spectrum, okay? And that is what kick-started. I didn't force him. There was no, he took it upon himself to pursue this, and he bought a book. I can't remember what the title of the book was. It's something like How to Program a ZX Spectrum or something like that, right? And in the end, after a couple of years, he'd overtaken me. He was babbling on about peaks and pokes and this, that and the other. I hadn't really Scooby's clue what he was talking about. It was like way over my head, But it kind of, I was like the initial spark, if you like. I lit the fuse on the bonfire night rocket, and woof, and off he went, right? And I remember distinctly going to his primary school about a year or so later, after we were doing this stuff on the Spectrum initially, at some big meeting, in the main hall, and all the parents were there. There was no kids, it was its parents and the teachers and the headmaster of the school, and the headmaster made his speech. And after that he said, any questions? I stuck my hand up and I said, I think it was called Mr. Haig, I think was the headmaster of the school. And I said, look, does the school have any plans to introduce computer coding into the curriculum? And there was like this deathly silence, right? Bearing in mind, you're going back almost 30 years ago now, right? And then everybody burst out laughing. And I'm sat there thinking to myself, well, what they all laughing about, and he come up with some cock and bull rubbish which I can't remember, and then it was all swiftly moved on to what they deemed to be something more sensible, right? But you know, the point is that at the moment it seems like the you know, establishment, for want of a better term, you know, the schools and the government and blah de blah, have kind of caught up a bit, you know. 30 years too late in my opinion, but you know, eventually they've got there, right? Now, the reason I'm saying this is, you know, kids, I really hate using the word kids when I'm talking about our younger generation, okay, of which I'm talking about, you know, children at secondary school and, you know, college and possibly then moving on to university, right? Kids is a bad term, I realise that. But look, my son, who started off on a ZX Spectrum 48K computer at 6 years old in this very room, right, has gone on to work. This is the gospel truth. I'm not telling you any lies, okay? He's gone on to work for CERN in Geneva. He left CERN in Geneva. This is all in the IT field, by the way, right? He then went on to UBS in Zurich. You know, the reason I mentioned it's in the IT field, because obviously UBS is a bank, you know. I didn't want you to think you just sat behind a counter, you know, like cash this check sort of thing. All in the IT area, right? He then went from UBS in Zurich. He moved back to the UK, to London, where he worked for another company. I'm not going to name them. He left them and he's now working for an American company in London, and he is currently in the top 1% earners within the UK, right? That is, I'm not BSing you. This is all true, right? The point that I'm making is, if you're into computing and you have a feel that you may want to go into coding, do not be frightened of it, okay? There's a whole plethora of information out there, okay? Excuse me. You know, books, whatever, right? Don't be frightened of it. You know, I'm now too old to learn this stuff, you know. I mean, obviously, you know, when I was a kid, you people were messing about with valves and high tension and low tension batteries, you know. There was no internet, no computers, no nothing, you know. I think when I was a kid there was one TV channel, and that was it, right? But, you know, seriously, if you go for it, okay, don't let anybody, you know, obviously if you've got an interest in computing and you want to go down this road, just go for it, right? Because what you can achieve, who knows, right? And you'll never know unless you try. That's the point, okay? So that's my advice to you, our future up and coming generation. Go for it. Right, that was a serious video for a change from non-road user. Normally my videos are, well, bordering on a little bit flippant, shall we say, but that was a serious, genuine serious one. I mean it. Do it. Go for it. You probably will not regret it. Could set you up for the rest of your life. Who knows? You could become another Bill Gates, Mark, what's his name, Battenberger or something, Zuckerberg or whatever they call him. Him who invented FriendFace, that site that basically owns you, and you know, I've seen the T&Cs, you know, don't, I am never signing up for that thing. No way, no way, right? There's a golden rule of mine, right? I mean, all right, I'm on Twitter, you know, that's kind of, I've read their T&Cs and I'm kind of a little bit happy about theirs, but FriendFace, no, I've read theirs, don't like it, right? Golden rule, if it's free, you're the product, okay? That's my advice to you, young people of the United Kingdom. I hope you take it on board. Right, I'm going. That's an On-Road Users video over for this time. Catch you all later on another one, more than likely. Bye now.